Howdy, hi. It is Dear Job Sports WNBA Picks and Predictions for Wednesday, July 30th, 2025. We are looking at the best bets of the day. Let's get into the video. All right. So, there are a lot of things on the right side of the screen. There is only one thing on the left side of the screen. I lost a lot of money today on WNBA basketball. It was not fun. I will now get into how I lost a bajillion dollars. The only winner, it was Angel Reese, PRA over 29.5. Surprisingly, this was a no sweat. Angel Reese finished the game 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. That is 38 PRA. Somehow the Chicago Sky still lost the game by 17 points. The lowest points they gave up in a quarter was 23 to a Mystics team who has been playing horrible basketball recently. They shot 51% from the field, 42% from deep, and they shot 27 free throws. What on earth? All right, now we're losers. We have 8 of them. Chicago Sky +7, never stood a chance. Under 158.5, also never stood a chance. Final score was Mystics 103, Chicago Sky 86. The score after the first quarter was 30-27. The Mystics had 55 points at halftime, led by Kiki Iriafen, who dropped 22, 10, and 4. Who else played well? Sonia Citron 28, 2, and 2. Brittany Sykes 18, 2, and 6. You are not going to win a basketball game when you let the opponent's 3 star players go 24 of 40 from the field. Chicago Sky, Angel Reese went 6 of 16. Kia Nurse, 3 of 7, somehow found her way into the starting lineup. This team is atrocious. They don't play defense. They can't score the ball enough to actually maintain on any storm of offense. They are now 7-19 on the year. This team is ass. Next game, probably the most surprising result of the day. Dream -8.5. They didn't even win. They lose a home game to a Golden State Valkyries team who just lost a road game to the Sun by 30+. Final score here, Golden State Valkyries 77, Atlanta Dream 75. Golden State shoots at 48% from the field, 42% from deep. They win the offensive rebound battle despite not having any real size on the team. They lose the turnover battle by 6. The Atlanta Dream shoot at 38% from the field, 33% from deep. What might have been the most confusing thing to me, once again, we lose a player prop because our player simply does not actually get on the court. Brittany Griner, the only starter in the rotation to play less than 20 minutes. She played 19. The next closest starter played 27. That was Bree Jones. Caldwell played 34. Jordan Canada 35. Alicia Gray 33. Why is Griner only playing 19? I understand you're on the front half of a back-to-back, but she's 3 of 7 of the field, 3 of 3 from the free throw line. She has 9 points in 19 minutes. Why is she not on the court? It doesn't make any sense. You have to win the game first. Put her on the court. That one pained me. We then lost the Sparks +2.5, the over 174.5, and Rakia over 12.5 points. So, firstly, Sparks +2.5, no bueno. They lose the game 89-74. I think they're now 3-11 straight up at home this year. How you have that bad of a home record, I have no clue. They shoot at 38% from the field, 17% from deep. If you want to break that down player by player, Kelsey Plum went 0 of 6. Julie Allemand went 0 of 5. Rakia went 0 of 2. And Azurá Stevens went 1 of 3. So out of all of their starters combined, They went 1 of 16 from deep, while also combining their starters had 12, no, 8, 6, 15 turnovers. You cannot have a 1 made three-pointer to a 15 turnover ratio. That is horrible. The over never stood a chance as the Sparks turned it over a ton and only shot 38% from the field. Of course, the one time we don't take Asia Wilson props, she drops 34 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists. I mean, I got no words for that one. That one just hurt me emotionally. Rakia Jackson, she played like shit. 33 minutes, 2 of 10 from the field, 6 points and 3 rebounds. This was not an enjoyable day at all. Nobody gets added to or taken off the ban list. I go 1-8. I lose a ton of money. Let's get on to the bullshit that we'll take on tomorrow. All right, now we get on to the 3 games and 2 player props for today. If I do as poorly as I did yesterday, I think I'm retiring from the WNBA. Just kidding, probably not. This league's actually very fun to bet. I just got absolutely destroyed, which happens, sometimes you can't win. Anyway, first game, give the Mercury minus 3.5 on the road at the Indiana Fever. This is probably the game of the day. You could argue Liberty and Lynx is going to be better, but if Brianna Stewart doesn't play, I really don't think that game's going to be that good. I am taking the Liberty, though, either way, so one could argue I think it's going to be tight. Anyway, Mercury, give me them laying a number. Give me the over 165.5. Mercury have been playing pretty good recently, coming off of a nice road win at the Mystics. Fever still don't have Caitlin Clark. Really don't know how they're going to play back at home, so I'll take what I think is the better lineup. Mercury 16-9 on the year. They just won 88-72 against the Mystics in DC. They had a pretty rough 3-game losing streak prior to that road win, losing to the Lynx, the Liberty, and the Dream, who were probably 3 of the best 5 teams in the league. Against weaker to middle-tier teams, the Mercury normally take care of the business. I like the matchup for them here down low. Aaliyah Boston plays absolutely no defense. Natasha Howard is coming off of a horrible performance and is questionably injured, so I don't know how much defense she's going to be playing. The only thing you really have to stop offensively for the Fever, you got to stop Kelsey Mitchell and you have to stop Aaliyah Boston / Natasha Howard. Really don't have to be too concerned about Hall or Cunningham or Colson off of the bench. Ari McDonald can get hers, but she really hasn't been looking to create as much as I thought she would have. So I'm going to take the Mercury here. Fever 14-12 on the year. They've won back-to-back games against the Aces in the Sky. Not really sure how much weight to put into that, just based on how bad both of those teams are. This is their first real challenge at home since they had 2 road games at the Liberty where they lost both. When they play top-tier opponents, they just lose. I think they struggle again here with no Caitlin on the court. Give me the Mercury and give me the over. All right, game number 2, Liberty, Lynx. I really don't want to bet this game, nor do I want to bet any of these games after going 1-8. But here we are. I'm going to take the Liberty plus 7.5. I'm going to take the under 166.5. Both of these teams have some pretty important injury news here. Brianna Stewart, questionable. I really don't think he's going to play. And then Alana Smith for the Lynx, also questionable. If she does not play, Jonquel Jones should absolutely feast. Liberty, they just lost a road game 82-92 to questionably the second worst team in the league, depending on whether or not you think the Wings are better than the Sky. They looked absolutely atrocious in the first half. They looked pretty good in the second half, but that doesn't matter when you're down 30 at halftime. I'm not too concerned, though. This is a good quality team. I like their coach. She was actually making some really good points in the huddle. There was like 3 minutes left. They were down 10. And she was like, you know what? You put yourself in this position. You're playing hard in the second half. Just go out there and do the best you can. I like that from a coach. You're not going to go in and shit talk your team. I like what she was saying. The Lynx, they just dropped their first home game of the season against the Atlanta Dream. It would be quite fitting of the WNBA if their number one team dropped back-to-back games for their first losses at home. Like I said, Alana Smith, questionable. If she doesn't play, they're going to struggle to have a matchup down low with Jonquel Jones. You have Shepard off the bench, but that's really it. They lack a decent amount of size on this Minnesota Lynx team. Jonquel is not someone you're going to want to give up size to. So give me the Liberty, give me the under. Do I love it? No. Am I going to bet it? Yeah. All right, final game, and then we have 2 player props, not 3, because I was mentally hurt the previous day. Speaking of mentally hurt, we have the Atlanta Dream going at the Dallas Wings. This is another game. Do I like the fact that the Dream are playing back-to-back games and they have travel? No, I actually hate it. Previous game, they lost at home to the Valkyries. Wings, they're coming off of a nice home win against the Liberty. Do I really think they played that well? No, I think it was more of a case of the Liberty just having zero clue how to play basketball in the first half. Dream, 15-11 on the year, 1-1 against the Wings this season. They won the first game 83-75. They lost the second game on the road 68-55 in what might have been the worst WNBA game of this season. Like I said, I really don't enjoy backing teams on back-to-backs. But if you only have to lay 4.5 with the clearly better roster, I think I have to do it. The Wings have just been so bad prior to their most recent games against the Liberty. I just can't take them at plus 4.5 against a team that has way more talent. Wings, 8-19 on the year. They just beat the Liberty. They've been getting really good performances from Marike and Paige. I don't mind their player props. I was real close to taking Marike for PRA over, but I couldn't do it because if she would have missed, she would have been right back on the banned list. So I have to give her at least like a 1-week hiatus before I actually take her props. I don't trust them to win back-to-back games, especially not at home. I think this team sucks. It was a lucky home win against Liberty. I'm not going to do it again. All right, now we got player props. I am going with 2 players we've backed before, but have not really been winning on. Alyssa Thomas, PRA over 30.5. AT is coming off a ridiculously good game against the Mystics. She dropped 27, 11, and 8. She has a good matchup down low against a very weak defensive Indiana team. Sabrina, I'm going to take her PRA over 30.5. She's probably coming off of the worst first half of basketball I've ever seen her play. She scored 1 point, had 0 rebounds, and 1 assist in the first half against the Wings. She then followed it up with a second half of 24 PRA. I think it was 16 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. So if she plays anything like she did in the second half against the Lynx, I think she should be good to hit her 30.5. All right, that's going to do it for me in this video. Probably not going to want to tail these, seeing as though I went 1-8. But do with this information what you will. I appreciate you guys watching and tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.